This is Kevin Murphy from Riff Tracks and Mystery Science Theater 3000, and you are listening to Dispatch Radio.
Well, we have a great guest back with us. We're going to talk about the New York primary, the fallout of the elections. Everybody's talking about it. Donald Trump winning big, Hillary Clinton winning big, and we'll start there with Alex Snitker. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing well, doing very well.
It's great to have you back, and we'll talk about New York. Not really a big surprise there. I mean, I think the only surprise is that there was really no wiggle room. There was really no waffling. Trump wins big, gets a huge number, and Cruz didn't really get much of anything. He moved on quickly. I mean, even before they were announcing results, he was in a different state. He's in a different state today. So any thoughts or surprises there on how well you thought Trump did or how badly everybody else did?
Well, I think that overall, Trump did a lot better than even people were going to give him credit for. I mean, it was a given he was going to win New York on the Republican side. It was a given. However, it looked like he was able to not just win New York convincingly, but to win most of because the way the delegate is set up, the way the delegate allocations are set up is they also do it by district as well. And it looks like, at least from my vantage point, he was able to pretty much do very, very well there. I think that Cruz and Kasich, in all honesty, Kasich is ensuring Trump's victory at this point by continuing to stay in this race. Is that if they're not going to be able to coalesce around one person, then this is what you're going to get. And there's something else to be said here, and it's a little bit off the topic, but a lot of times you hear in the Republican side, well, everybody needs to get together and make sure that we got the one guy that we're going to be able to beat the other guy with, and if anybody moves out of line on that, then that's a bad thing. A lot of times you'll hear the establishment say that. However, another thing that this election cycle is showing is that those people are hypocrites if they don't get what they want. If they don't get their people, then they will ruin it for anybody else that's going in there. It's the same thing that happened with Goldwater a long, long time ago. And to be honest with you, from what we're going to talk about in a little bit, it's the same thing that's happening with Trump right now.
Yeah, and I think what's interesting here is, first off, let's give Kasich some due. He got 3 delegates. He hadn't gotten a delegate since Rubio dropped out. So, the streak is on. The streak is on.
It's definitely on.
I quoted Michael Steele in our coverage there. Michael Steele was all about how, hey, this could be it. This could be the turning point, the rallying point for Kasich. I'm like, who are these people? I mean, how delusional are you to think? I couldn't get Medved to do an interview with me when I was on the Michael Medved show. He cut the interview, cut me off in a little bit of this because I was pointing out that, it's great for you guys that want to, go to a convention and you want to contest it, but you don't want to just cheat Trump out of this. You want to cheat Cruz too. You want to give it to a third person. That's why the Paul Ryan conversations and all this are even entertained. He wasn't even going to have any of that part of the conversation because he doesn't want to bring up the fact that they would disenfranchise Cruz supporters. It's okay to disrespect these lowly educated, nonsensical Trump people because that's how they look down their nose at them. Am I right?
Oh, no, they absolutely. Well, they look down their nose at everybody that's not them.
Right.
I mean, everybody and they have don't get me wrong, they have a different reason to hate, but it doesn't change the fact that if you're not in their club, then they don't view you as the same kind of human as the rest of them. They just happen to be a little bit more advanced and a little bit more high-minded or whatever the word is, which is the thing that's really, if you want to look at one of the attitudes that's killing the GOP and the Dems, it's doing damage to both. But, we're talking about the GOP right now. This high-mindedness is really doing some serious damage to them. And if you want to know why Trump was able to do what he did, look at that. Because Trump, for all the negatives that you can say about Trump, and there's plenty of it, is that it seems to me that he is more blue-collar and more wanting to hear from the people than you hear from the establishment. And they're not even trying to hide it.
Yeah, well, it's the crassness, right? He speaks in such a layman terms. He cusses. He's been on their television. There's just a different sort of relationship he has with them, and I think Trump has totally capitalized on that. And where I want to go now, because we're going to have another week where Trump's going to get to really pound his chest here for about 2 weeks because he's got 5 more coming up next Tuesday. I mean, you might see some delegates scrape off in Maryland, maybe a little bit here and there, depending on how the districts are counted. And then, of course, Pennsylvania is kind of a free-for-all because most of the delegates, I don't want to say all, because I'm not sure I totally understand all of the rules, but as far as I understand it, most delegates coming out of Pennsylvania aren't even bound to whoever wins. So it's going to fit the Trump narrative because if Cruz gets 40 delegates, even though Trump wins the state, we'll be back to he's stealing it, he's robbing me, he's whatever. But based on the numbers, he easily is going to end up close to 1,000 delegates in a little over a week from now. At that point, does the narrative shift to I'm this close, Cruz can't mathematically win. Will that be enough to push him over the hump? Because if he gets Indiana, it becomes almost mathematically easy for him to win, let alone the shift in states, which definitely is more of a Cruz country.
Yes, it can change the conversation, but we are dealing in uncharted territory. So, normally momentum would hold key, but that would have already happened if it was going to happen.
Right, it's never happened so far. Good point.
Yeah, I mean, it's just one of those things where, if they were doing that, then they would all be behind Trump right now. And Clinton's having a hard time, too, on the Democrat side, because we don't even know what's going on with Bernie. I mean, is he going to stay in? Is he not going to stay in? So it's hard to even, it's hard to gauge exactly what's going to happen, but there is got to be a certain point where these guys are going to look and say, we're going to have to let this guy run with it, or we're going to be in a lot of trouble. Like, we can't, if he breaks 1,000, are they really going to be able to deny him the nomination? And if they do, how ugly are they going to have to get to do it? And maybe they're prepared to go full on ugly, but I mean, in all honesty, all of this is going to be helping Clinton. And if it was any other Democrat, it would be really helping them. And the only thing the GOP has that's fortunate for them is that it's Clinton, and that she has got her own negatives that are really, really big. And she's got Bernie Sanders, basically not only just nipping at her heels, even though we think she's going to get the nomination, but he's raffling up the feathers out there and exposing the Democrats for the hypocrites that they are when it comes to this delegate process.
Let's wrap up on the Republican side here to see what your thoughts are on the delegates, because it's going to come down to the delegates. I mean, I've really been trying to listen to some of these eggheads try to explain how this actually works. They talk about the primary process as just an estimate. It's kind of a best guess of how delegates are sort of picked and selected, but that's not really the case. It's a very weird sort of process. And if they get there and they're going to go first vote, nobody gets 1237. I definitely will stand. That's probably what's going to happen until the math sort of proves out otherwise. I don't see how Trump really can get there quite yet. He's getting closer. I understand that, but it doesn't quite work. But if he doesn't get the votes on the first vote and actually goes through the actual process, they follow the rules. I know the public outcry. I know the antics that Trump will play. You obviously you can't let this guy near the stage at the RNC convention. Does it just melt down for the sake of melting down? Does the media just love all this because they can demonize the Republicans? I mean, is there even any way to pass the baton to someone else, whether it be Cruz or other even more crazy, a third person?
No, I mean, don't get me wrong, they could do it. I'm not saying they can't do it, but there's no peaceful way of that happening. There's no way it's not a trial fight. It's going to be a tire fire. I mean, the media will love it. They will eat it up. And it's a guy like Trump. If you make that guy mad, if you really get under his skin, he has the bully pulpit to really do damage to you. Like you might as well just say Clinton's going to win then at that point, because there's no way that they're going to be able to get past because those people that voted for Trump will just sit out. I mean, if they may vote third party, but more than likely they're just going to sit out.
Well, more importantly, and I'm going to throw this at you and I close out the Republicans here, and we had talked about third party before. I'm going to stand corrected. Trump will become the most powerful political voice in the country because between the convention and the election, he can go on show after show after show bashing Republicans, bashing Cruz, and bashing the system. Am I right?
Well, yeah. Not only that, though, but the media will be dying to have him on every show all the time.
He's on Fox. They've estimated he's had over he's getting close to $2.5 billion of free advertising just by appearing on these shows. No wonder he can self-finance. He doesn't have to actually run any ads. So that will just continue if he loses or he gets cheated out of the system, or however you want to look at it. So it'll
be increased. It'll be increased. They will love to bring him on, and he will love to come on every day of the week.
All right, we're going to shift gears with Snitker. We're going to talk about the Democrats next.